I don't understand what's going on, Ron. Hold on. Let me try it again. There you are. Hold on. Let me see if I can figure it out. I sent it again. Let's see. I don't know. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Good morning, everyone. We're trying to get Ron up here, so let's give a moment. Ron, if you go and check your... Okay. If you go in your Hangouts, I did send the links to your Hangouts as well, so it's already there. Hey, Just a Human, good morning. Good morning. We're just getting ready to get started. It's still early, and just trying to get Ron up here. You know how that is with Hangouts. Hey, Jalen, how are you? I don't understand. Hold on. If you go into your link, the link is there, love. If you go into your Hangouts, it's on the Hangouts. I sent you a invite in Hangouts as well. So I sent it to your email as well as your um, uh, Hangouts. I'm going to send you a different email because this is, I don't know. Give me 1 second. I'm going to send it to William and see if he can get it. Can you, William, I sent you the link. If you don't mind coming up. We haven't had this much problem, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but that's okay. See, William came right up, no problem with the link. Ron, he's here.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, thank you for testing that for me. I
Oh,
appreciate
you're
it.
always welcome.
So, I'm wondering if it's because it's not a Gmail address. Let me turn down because I have on my loud speaker this morning. Hi, Poo Poo. How are you?
Yeah,
Let
I'm
me
doing
turn down.
good.
Hi, Daddy. Look at him. We got to present him. Look at him. Look at that hair, William. Jeez.
Oh, I know. Like, I can't even like comb it down or lay it on the side
Good
or
morning,
what. It keeps on
guys. Oh
sticking
my
up.
God. Look at all the people that are here. Hey, Leilani. How are you? Welcome, Maurice. Welcome. We're just trying to get Ron up here so we can get started on the interview. I sent the link to William so he could test it for me. And he has his cutie pie that's in the chat for us right now with his cute self. So I'm gonna try one more thing. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, why it's not working, but it's working for William, but it's not working for Ron. And I think it's because it's Hotmail. I've never used any other link other than Gmail for Hangouts. So I've never used any other email address. So there's nothing missing, Ron. I just sent it to Just a Human and he got it with no problems.
That's right.
I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. I'm gonna delete this email
Good
so I
morning.
can send it to the right one.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, there he is. Awesome.
Yeah, I figured out
Okay.
a back door in.
Did you come to the back way?
Yep.
Awesome.
So we got
Wonderful.
this.
Huh? Yeah.
We got this.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here. Let me turn this music off. I'm so happy to see you this
I
morning.
can't hear it. The music's okay.
Music's okay?
Yeah, it's not. I'm not hearing it on my side.
Okay,
Even
good.
at full volume, I don't hear it.
How you doing?
I'm good. Been up since 3 o'clock. Nervous about this.
What are you nervous for?
Oh, it's SSDD every time you do one of these.
Yeah, but it's me, so you shouldn't be nervous.
No, it's all good. It's just me.
Welcome, everybody. I appreciate every single person here. First and foremost, I will tell you that I'm excited about this interview, and I have been for a while because I am a person that's trying to get back to nature, to holistic healing, and part of the things that helps with that is gardening. And so the other part for me is understanding the chemical and the scientific part of this, but because my brain is set up differently, it doesn't work very well. So I am going to turn on my, there we go. So
There
I
she
got
is.
my turn my video on. So everybody that's here, did it come on? Yes, awesome. So I just want to say thank you all for coming in this morning. Thank you, Ron, for being here. Thank you,
Oh, yeah.
William, for testing the link for me. So thanks,
You're
Ron.
welcome. I'm gonna hang up so I can take care of business. I got little
Okay.
one that's running around.
All right. Love
Look
you.
out
Love the
close.
kids.
Appreciate your help.
Love you too. I will be in the chat though, so
Okay.
Brother Green, it's nice to see you, man.
And you, sir. Thanks for helping.
Awesome. All right. That hair, I'm kind of jealous. I'm
All
just
right.
gonna say that. I'm just kind of jealous.
All right. Got to understand. I'm growing this back from a military crew cut because I got out of the security industry, and all of this is going to cancer for kids.
That's
Once it hits,
beautiful.
once
It's
it hits
beautiful.
13 inches, it will all get cut off again, and I'll start over.
Beautiful. Well, I had brain surgery, and ever since I had brain surgery, my hair won't grow properly. I have no bone in the back of my head. So,
Ouch.
um, the thing is, you got to fake it till you make it, or either I wore a bald head, completely bald for 3 years with just long earrings, and I had a very nice shapely head, so it worked out perfectly.
Oh, there
I
you
didn't have
go.
things in my head, so that was a good thing. But yeah, you have beautiful hair, by the way, and that's
Thank
awesome
you.
that you're doing that for kids.
Yeah, I've done it before. And I'm just getting back into it again.
Awesome. That is wonderful. So, Ron, the way we try to do here is we try to talk to you. We want to get to know you as a person, because I feel like just talking about business can't connect to you. So we want to ask a few. That's the reason why I sent all those questions. I'm not going to ask all those questions. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty. But we're just going to ask a few fun facts about you, about your channel, why you're here on YouTube, things like that. And then we're going to talk about your book, but we're going to kind of interact with the crowd. So make
Right.
sure we don't leave anybody. If they have any questions about, when we start getting into your book and things like that, we're going to make sure we answer their questions, because if these people are like me, I mean, I kind of like did gardening, but didn't know what the heck I was doing. And I'm pretty sure that I wasn't living up to my potential as far as what I needed to do for my garden. And so that's why I'm excited about your book. I actually know somebody that knows something that can help me.
Yeah,
I think that's
I know a little bit. I know a
that's
little bit.
awesome. Well, you are presented, so I want you to just first just say hello to the everybody out there in YouTube land. Tell them a little bit about your channel, and then we're gonna get straight into some questions for you.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm Ron Neitzel. All of you know me as that. A lot of you have never met me before. But I'm a what they consider a super mod. I'm one of those guys that I am just out there not to build a channel. I'm out there just to help everybody. Um, on my sideline kind of thing, I'm also an author. Um, I've been working diligently for years on a gardening book to help everybody, to help my neighbors first and foremost, because they're constantly bugging me. How did you do this? What did you do different? How did you go from being the weed king to the green wizard. What's different? And every time I explain it to them, they glaze over. It's too complicated. I've taken it too far. Uh, so I knew there had to be a better way to do this. So you know, being the green wizard, I got forced into writing or being a creator on YouTube, and that's not my world. I have no idea what you guys do, and I still don't understand it. I still don't get it. I'm only doing it because my publisher said, "Hey, that's a great idea. Why don't you go ahead and do that and present yourself?" So I'm doing what I can. Um, so most of my stuff you're never really going to see a video because this is a book channel. How do I present, other than having the book in my hand, which is going to happen here this month, potentially next weekend. We're that close. And show you this book and say, here it is. This is what it looks like. Start ordering. There's more to understand about the book. I'm a 30 years in security and armed security and security management. You wouldn't think, hey, he's a gardener. Well, no, you wouldn't think that. But 15 years in an 80-year-old house, I've got a piece of property that was devastated and needed help. And my parents, my grandparents, my father all had gardens. My grandfather was a farmer, full-fledged, out in Pennsylvania, gigantic farm. All of this goes into a little more detail, not by much, but a little more detail, about a little 5-year-old running through the fields, tripping over himself and falling down and being in the mud and everything else, chasing his grandfather on a tractor. That was my upbringing. That's how I grew up in the summers, is going to Pennsylvania, living on the farm, hanging out with the family. Between then and now, I forgot a lot of things. When I got back into it here and started with a pumpkin patch, something clicked. And I remembered a whole lot of things about what I was doing wrong in the garden. And chasing chemicals wasn't the right answer. They all want to talk about how global warming is doing so much damage, but they're not offering any solutions. I'm giving you solutions. We've over farmed everything for hundreds of years here in America and across the planet, but nobody is saying, hey, this is what's happened. This is what we've done. This is how to fix it. Even though my book is written for a new homeowner and written for somebody who can, do a little bit of gardening, if you read between the lines on this, this is for your master gardener. This is for somebody who wants to go that extra mile. For somebody who wants to look at global warming and say, hey, I'd like to do my part and change things. Here's the interesting fact. When you go and make your own garden and you get back to nature and you get your fingers a little bit dirty, you're going to start eating foods you've never tasted before. Because in the last, oh my God, 15 years, if even that much, we have gone from soil readings of 83% fertile to 90% deficient. It's that bad.
Wow.
When you're talking about the original readings, when they sat down and started the Food and Drug Administration, and they sat down and said, this is what your dietary supplements are for your life for today. That was back in 1953. A single cup of spinach gave you enough vitamins and iron in your diet on a daily basis, on a weekly basis from that single cup. Today's equal is 8 cups of spinach coming out of the same field. It's depleted that bad. And no one's talking about how to fix it. My book does. My solutions do. The difference that you're going to find in the flavors of your food, the quality of the air around your house, just because your grass is better, all have a tremendous difference after following these guides. And it's not something new. Don't misunderstand. I'm not bringing new ideas to the forefront. I'm bringing stuff we've forgotten. The Native Americans knew this information. They utilized this information. You follow some of my links in the book, you're going to see pictures of things that are going to blow your mind. That, okay, most of us are used to, hey, let's go out to the corn maze and let's go play around for Halloween and get lost in the maze and try and figure out our way out. And the thing stands, oh, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8 feet tall. Guess what, everybody? Corn is supposed to be anywhere from 12 to 16 feet
Deep into
tall.
the questions, Ron. Getting deep into the questions. Hold on. I know
Well,
you.
I'm just trying to go, this is what I'm going back to. And that's the information I'm giving you. It's just the information that's been forgotten. Nothing more. I don't want everybody thinking that this is a college manual. It's not. It's
No,
not even
no,
close to that.
no. And we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk more about, as far as like more detail, as far as how you got to this point of where you remembered. How were you able to jog your memory and things like that.
The
But
smell. Believe it or not, it's the smell of the soil.
yeah,
When you pick up soil today in a garden today, you don't smell something. You don't smell organic. And
yes,
that's
smells like
that's
people. Yes.
right. It's something's lacking, something's missing. And when I
To me, it
sat down
smells
next
like
to my
sulfur.
dead
It smells like
pumpkins,
sulfur or something. I don't know, like a chemical of something of sorts. I don't know.
uh, dirt, mud, organic matter, what you're smelling is actually the off gassing of the organic matter that's alive in the soil. When you have dead soil, it's like picking up a handful of sand and there's nothing. You pick
Yeah.
up organic, live, or maybe to better understand it, just to say you pick up a handful of topsoil, there's a smell to it. When I
Mm-hmm.
sat down next to my pumpkins and that was the trigger mark, I picked up a handful of dirt and a handful of soil. In one hand was what I was doing and what I was doing wrong, and there was no smell. And
Mm-hmm.
at the other hand, at the good pumpkin patch, there was that smell. And it was like blink, the blinders came off and everything triggered, and I knew what I had done wrong. I
Awesome.
actually hurt myself and slowed myself down. So even though I was helping the soil and getting it ready, I was actually making it dormant so nothing grew and the pumpkins failed miserably.
Okay.
But where I hadn't done anything, it was thriving and going crazy.
Awesome.
So that was my key. Look, hey, nature does its own thing. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
put some stuff in, but leave it alone. Don't touch it.
Gotcha.
Nature does its own work. That's what weeds are. It's nature trying to do things. It's nature trying to replenish soils. That's why weeds are so prevalent nowadays, because the things aren't there. We farmed everything off and nature's trying to fix it. They grow the weeds, and that's what a weed is. It's trying to fix a condition in the soil. Weeds don't grow if the soil conditions are correct. That's a key here. If your soil conditions are correct, you don't have weeds in your grass. You don't have weeds in your garden because the weed seed just will not germinate. That's where all of this goes to. We're going back to nature, back to the Indians' way, back to where we had forgotten everything. And
Awesome.
as soon as you go back there with just the correct understanding, everything multiplies and gets better.
That's wonderful. Thank you for that. I just want to say thank you and welcome to everybody that's here in the chat. We truly appreciate you coming in and coming in to support Ron or the Green Wizard in his. I'm claiming a book tour for him, or something where he can go and speak about his book. I know that he's a very humble guy. That's one thing I do know. I do know that he has a funny sense of humor. I do know that. So he's a really great person. I can't remember where I met you. Was it Nerd of the North or was it
Yep.
somewhere else? Nerd of the North.
That's
And
where we ran.
so, but I will tell you my experience with Ron is that he's always kind, very kind person, always speaks to you no matter what. As far as a moderator, he's like a super dude. Links, whatever. If you guys are active in your channel, he's an amazing person. He has a great heart, and when I approached him about this, I was in a live stream where he was talking about his book, and the aha moment that I felt like I needed to share this with other people. I'm like, I got to share this, share you with other people, because I think that we have to offset the negative things that are going on YouTube with the positive things. And I believe that positivity is rounded. And what you're trying to do is something positive to help us to be able to sustain ourselves as far as
Oh,
our health,
absolutely.
our life, everything. And so, most of the time, I believe this with all my heart, that we walk around and we think we taste things and they taste good, but we don't know what it really does taste like you said.
Oh
And
no.
so, because we've grown up with a certain mentality that we are lacking. And so I got a whiff of the good part, because I've eliminated things and added things to my life. And I'm hungry to add more things that are good for me to make me feel better from what I've been through.
Right.
So that's why I wanted you to come on today. And that's why I'm excited for you to be here. So thank you for being here and taking time out of your schedule to be here with
Oh, no
us and
problem.
educate us. You
Well,
know,
it's not like I can be out on my Harley having a good day because it's a little too cold to get the Harley out.
well, I say this to say that it doesn't matter if you have a degree, it doesn't matter if you have a certificate. It's all about life lessons and experiences, and also the passion that you have for that. I'd rather have somebody that has the passion, that can show you the action, versus somebody who can tell me all these different figures and stuff, but I still don't have the answer. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's what I'm looking at, is I'm like, God, this guy has passion. He has proof. The proof is in the pudding, and you have the answer, and you're willing to speak to us, especially people who don't have the knowledge and understanding in layman's terms where we can understand it.
Well, see,
So
that's where I screwed up the book when I first started. It was
that's one of
500
my questions.
pages.
That's one of my questions I'm going to ask you. That's one of my questions. But before we ask you book questions, I just want to ask you like three questions about yourself. Number one, very simple. If there was a book that you could write about you, not about anything green or about your garden, about you as a person, what would it be? Would it be like a memoir of your days in the military?
It would be um, the point of view of an adopted twin and finding out about our heritage, our Indian background, and explaining a lot of things about my connections with animals, um, as far as I can walk into, uh, uh, we call them APLs here, or animal protective leagues. And I instantly, something about me just calms all of the animals. I can sit in a room with them and they just chill out and relax and have a great time. I'm in the room. Um, I've never been able to explain that, and now I've got answers to that. Good morning, Yetel. So my book, or biography about myself, would be me as a adopted twin, and how our lives differed, how we changed, and then finding out about our heritage, our bloodline, and where that explained a lot of things that have come about in our lives.
Awesome. That's awesome. So I didn't know you were a twin. So that's awesome to know that you guys were adopted. So, but when did you come back together?
Oh no, we were adopted as twins.
Oh,
They kept
together. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Oh, incredible people. I mean, they've
Oh,
passed, but yeah, they were absolutely incredible. They wouldn't break up a set of twins, and they decided to take us both on.
oh, that's beautiful. Are you guys identical or fraternal?
Fraternal.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for that answer. I have two more questions I want to ask you, and they're pretty simple. If you were a tree, what tree would it be? And if you were a flower, what flower would it be? Or fruit?
Wow. Probably nuts. Yeah, but that's not a tree. But well, uh, as far as a flower, God, there are so many wonderful flowers out there. Um, I would probably, well, yeah, I guess if I were to play it off, I'd have to go with the roses.
What color?
Probably like the red to pink,
Red to pink.
the
Very
two-tone,
nice.
yeah.
Very nice. Smells good, pretty, you know.
Little dangerous. You don't want to
Little
reach into the
dangerous,
rose
get a
bush,
little
but you
thorn.
know,
Yes, exactly. So that's awesome. That's perfect. 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 So I do have a question from Just a Human. He says, did you write other books besides the gardening book? Have you wrote any other ones yet?
no, I have spent 6 years at this point. It's now six. I've spent 6 years on just this one book.
And tell them why it's been 6 years. That was one of my questions. I kind of know it, but I'm going to have you kind of explain why it took you 6 years.
Well, I wrote the book for my neighbors to explain to them what I was doing. And I went into the all head, hardcore scientific college level everything. And when I sat down to explain it, you could just see them glaze over. They didn't understand half the terms. They didn't understand where I was coming from or where I was going. I was losing them in the vocabulary. So I knew at that point something had to be wrong, and I wasn't catching people's attention. Um, so I broke it down to my story. I broke it down to the basics. I broke it down in such a way that everybody can understand it without me burying them in the scientific aspects of it. To go through and name off all of the individual amoebas and things in the chain, in the food web, and how the web is constructed and what's involved and this and is overkill. Yeah, you need to understand it, but it's overkill for where we're trying to get to.
Right.
We're trying to fix a planet, uh, and fix a yard, 1 yard at a time to fix a planet. And for me to write a college level manual and just lose everybody
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make any sense. I'm not getting through to anybody. So I then sat about trying to change all of this back, pull this down into a story, give you something entertaining. Um, and even that aspect of it, after 5 years of breaking it down and getting it down to the smallest possible I could get it to, was still explaining it, still giving you links to the information. Um, it still wasn't right. So I reached out for help, and they've spent another year getting all of the I's dotted, T's crossed, making it funnier, making it more entertaining, making sure everything made sense, not just because I had read it 50 times, it made sense to me, but that anybody else could sit down and read it.
So
So it's taken 6 years to get us to this final point.
basically, you dumbed it down for us, is what you're saying. Because I can tell you that I get disinterested really fast if it's something that's over my head and I don't understand it.
You
Um,
just dumped the book, right?
yeah,
So
I'm done.
why even pick it up?
Yeah,
Most of us are not college level type people that want to
exactly,
be master gardeners after reading one book. I was talking
exactly.
to an individual here on YouTube who owns a farm, who went to college for all of this stuff. He's got $3,000 worth of book, and they don't help him at all in his farm, and his farm is failing. And he
Yeah,
needs help. And here's the answers. It's super simple. Some people overcomplicate it. I went the simpler route. I've got a very dear friend of mine, that lives across the street, that is a cement layer. That's his world. He's into cement. It's hardcore. There's just, it's cut and dry basics. It's cement. And he can pick this book up and understand it. And that was my main goal, is if I can get it to him, I can get it to anybody.
well, and that's part of my thing for me is that, I live in an apartment. I live on the first floor. I have all of these buckets that I used last year. I got some vegetables and fruit, but not like I want to. And so living in Florida, I should be able to grow this stuff year round and to
Oh,
let it
absolutely.
die. And it does get cold, but not that cold. And I can tell you, I want to be successful this coming up. I can start doing it now. It's been 60 and 80 degrees here, so I can start planning now. But the thing is that last year I had issues with bugs in my soil. I knew there was poorness going on there. I didn't know what to do. Trying to check the pH balance all over the place. And before I started the garden again, because I was going to start another herb garden for the winter, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do it because I don't know what happened last time. I need to figure out how to make this better this time. And so when you were talking about your book, I'm like, oh, perfect, because I need some help and I need it in a way that I can understand it because I do have a brain injury. So I'm excited to get your book. And I want everybody else to be excited. There's a lot of people that want to start a garden, but they don't know where to even start. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to, like the prerequisite of you start here and then you go here. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's what I'm looking for.
Well, this will help. You've got to kind of read between the lines as you're going through this, though, because if you're looking at it from the garden point of view, I'm giving you everything you need, but I'm not telling you how to garden. Don't
Well,
misunderstand
and
what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
really need you to
Even
teach me how to garden. I just need to know, okay, so before you start gardening, what do I need to do with this soil? How do I need to be successful in making this, to make me be successful and get good fruit and vegetables?
right. Well, see that, and that's where I think we've kind of got our problem is because a lot of companies are selling you soils that aren't mineral rich. And what are fruits and vegetables? They are a combination of minerals
Mhm.
produced by a plant as a yield. So a tomato plant takes the minerals out of the soil and produces a tomato. It's only going to produce so much as to what the soil can maintain and
Right,
provide. If
right.
the soil is mineral and vitamin rich, so are your plants and they're going to thrive. So what you end up with is soil that's depleted, which was your problem. You have
Mhm.
bugs invading, you've got weeds invading, trying to fix the
Yes.
soil, can't
Mhm.
fix the soil because the stuff's just not there. I'm giving you the keys. I'm giving you the solutions to all of that in this book.
Awesome.
When you apply this stuff that is in the book to those individual buckets, everything's going to change. It does take a little bit of time, but we're not talking about 10 years. We're not even talking 3 years. We're talking it takes a couple of weeks to a couple of months for the conditions to get right, for everything to kick in, take off, and do its thing. And then you put your plant in, and it's going to go hog wild. See, when I first started, and my neighbor got me into this, um, I started with 10 tomato plants. And I was lucky if I got maybe 100 pounds of tomatoes throughout the whole thing. And he said, well, that's normal. And I'm like, no, that don't seem right.
No, that's
I'm now down
good.
to 3 tomato plants over 16 feet tall, and they're producing 600 pounds of tomatoes every year.
Wow,
So it's
that's
those
amazing.
kind of differences. And this is reproducible. I went over to his yard. He has passed away. It was over 3 years ago. It was cancer. His daughter lives there now. I got into one of the old beds. I applied my principles and bang,
Wonderful.
same results. Exactly the same results.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Ron. There's a chat that's coming through, and I just wanted to share with you. I don't know if you can see the chat, but there's a someone that came in earlier, and they had some well wishes for you as well. And then Leilani mentioned something about, well, you can be a pecan or a walnut or a hickory nut tree. Um, so there's a few people here.
Yeah, I'm
We have
nuts. Yeah, I'm trying to
what
read
you
as
said.
it goes along, I'm trying not to miss
Okay.
any major questions that come in. That's all.
To keep track of the questions for you, so don't worry. I had them I have in the night bot tells them what to do with the questions. I put a one next to it so we'll know that it's a question for
Okay.
you. And so just wanted to just tell everybody thank you for being here, Sunny. Thank you for being here, Marvelous. She's brand new here, Sunny. I've met a lot of these people on their channels, Uniquely Made. She is one of my dedication people. We're having a dedication week coming up starting on Tuesday. If you guys have time between 5 and 7, every day up to Sunday, we're going to be dedicating an hour to 2 hours to two individuals because I want to dedicate time back to the people who made my channel successful. And so that's another reason why we have Ron here is because I thought he had something interesting, something that was for sustainability for this earth. We got to make some turns. We got to do, I mean, even if you're not doing a garden, if they're just doing a lawn, tell us about your principles with just a lawn too.
Well, see, that's kind of the whole viewpoint here is,
Okay.
in my mind, we've allowed things to happen over hundreds and thousands of years that we had no control over. We've become chemical dependent or oil dependent because that's where all the chemicals come from, is out of the fossil fuels. Sorry to tell everybody, some of the drugs that we're taking are derived strictly
Yes.
out of the oil that we're pulling out of the ground. And it's not good for you. Sorry to say. But my whole idea and the whole principle is, I can't change a planet. My book, it can only do so much if it's applied. So it's my intention that if I can change 1 yard at a time with this book, I can start making a global difference. You can
Amen.
all become the same goofy green wizard that my neighbors call me. You will become that only by applying these same processes and allowing nature to do its own thing. And you're going to save money in the process. I hate to tell you, because these things are so cheap and you're going to get so much when you purchase this stuff, you're going to have excess. And the great thing is, as you put this stuff down in your lawn, it stockpiles, becomes available to your grass and your trees and your flower beds. And your third and fourth year, you don't need to do a thing. You're going to be weed free,
Mhm.
vitamin rich. Everything's going to be there. And you're going to have years of almost zero maintenance in your yard to do anything except cut the grass. It cuts back what you're spending on chemicals to try and get the same thing and be the weed master on your street and be the green wizard. And you're not going to spend any money. There's no point. Not when your yard is actually thriving. Why would you?
Amen. So I have another question from Just a Human. He said, "Who is your favorite author?"
Well, surprise, surprise, J.K. Rowling. I love the entertainment factor, and I've read a lot of other authors, but I like the entertainment factor of disappearing into a world that doesn't exist and just the imaginings of, and being in Harry Potter's realm, um, and the what ifs and the what have yous. I mean, plants that scream when you pull them out of the ground. That's kind of
Mhm.
where I see some of these plants of ours. You start messing around in grass and I hear the grass scream because it just terrifies me. You don't need to tear up a lawn to fix a lawn. And I see land scrapers doing that all the time, and they're friends of mine, they're buddies of mine, and we're just goofing. But um, yeah, so my favorite author, and the way she does things and the way she words things and captivates your mind and takes you someplace else and takes you into her world, would have to be J.K. Rowling.
Okay. Awesome. So I have a question from Diva Den. And this is, I mean, I don't live in a dry environment, but I don't want to take up all my time with my pot garden. But her question is, can the same principles be applied on a patio garden in a hot, dry climate?
Yes, you are
Okay.
watching the soils. You don't want to be on the mindset of watching the plant so much as watching the soil. Um, they're growing gardens in Egypt now. They're starting to understand some of these principles. And I have done the research and I have followed some of these things along. And with my grandfather gardening and running a farm, and my father running his own garden in his backyard, and me tinkering around here, messing with the garden, um, which I mean, it kind of gets funny because I hate tomatoes, but I grow the living daylights out of them because they tell you the most about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually test your soils by how well your tomatoes do. It's that simple. They're not as touchy as pumpkins and not as tricky to grow, but they will reveal more information to you than you ever wanted to know just by watching how well the tomatoes do. So I've spent a lot of years doing this, but you have to pay attention to your soil content and your soil moisture levels. not to be flooded, but not to be dry either. There's a very sweet balance that keeps, and I'll stress this again so that you can all go look. There's a very sweet balance that keeps the food web alive in the soil. When you achieve that, everything takes off, everything explodes. That's kind of where we've run into so many problems here in America and on a lot of our farms. Um, the soils are depleted so much that they no longer retain water and moisture, and everything runs off and fills our rivers and fills our streams with all of this sediment. And that sediment is the rich soil we all need, but there it goes being washed away because the farmers are stripping off everything and not allowing anything to be maintained on top. Best way to say this would be, if you're going to grow a garden and just have some fun with it, go get some clover and throw the clover seed down as cover, because it helps maintain moisture content. So if you're going to grow in a bucket and you don't want something like that happening and you want your plant to just do its best, I would say get perforated cardboard, lay it over the top of that you can pick it up, dump the water in, and put it back down. Perforated so that it can breathe. You don't want it to flood, but you don't want it to dry out either. You want that sweet spot right in between. So you want to slow down any evaporation as much as possible.
Okay, so I have a question for you, Ron. Sunny says, how long have you been gardening?
Well, like I said, I get it from my grandfather, who then, gave it to my father and has led it on to me. I was in apartments for a bunch of years. I got into this house 15, 16 years ago. So I've been on hardcore into the gardening side of it, hardcore into paying attention to what's going on in my yard for easily the last 10 years. And that's where I've mastered the tomatoes, even though I give them all away because I just don't eat them. I still test my theories, test my ideas, and keep propagating in that soil. And even though the gardeners tell you, and the master gardeners that went to college and got all the degrees tell you, rotate crops, that's funny because I still grow tomatoes in the same field and I still get the same results every year.
Awesome.
So it's not that we need to rotate, it's we need to replenish what we've taken away. Hint, hint.
So let me ask you a question. I live in a warm climate, very humid. I want to grow a orange tree on my
Okay.
lanai. I've tried to grow moringa 3 times, and two times it was the neighbor's fault because they poured bleach down from their balcony. But one time they grow on my balcony, which they should because I'm in a tropical climate. So would your book be able to give me what I need? I guess it's the same concept, but I'm just wondering because I've had things
Is your
started and
patio
planted.
southern facing?
I'm sorry?
Is your patio southern facing? Does it face
It
the
is
south?
facing, which way is it facing? It's facing north. No,
So you
west.
don't get a lot of direct sunlight on the plant to begin with.
I do.
Not if
I
it's
get
facing
a lot
north.
of west. I'm west. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay,
West.
okay. Then you're getting the evening. That still should be plenty.
Okay.
It's your soil conditions. It's where you're getting the soil from.
Okay.
It's not healthy soil, but
Okay.
I can make it healthy.
Okay. Awesome. So, so the question now is about your book and when is it going to be available for sale? I have your link in the description on the Nightbot. So if anybody is in Ron and who he is and his channel, he's on his channel, book reviews. I'm not sure as far as those type of things, but if you his channel information is there. I know you're still working. So if you could tell us more about the availability, that would be great.
Well, I got the final on Friday, and they've misspelt my name throughout the entire book.
Oh,
So that's
wow.
one little tweak we have to fix. Um, but that is a day, maybe two. And that part of it is finished. We could potentially be looking at the book available this coming weekend. We're
Oh,
that close.
awesome.
We're that close. We're just, it's, one or two minor tweaks have to be done, and it's available for upload. It's going to Amazon. It's
Mhm.
going everywhere I can reach. And I've got 5 different outlets that'll all be available online for drop shipping.
So this is what I would like to do. What I would like to do, I know that we're doing the dedications all the way up to Sunday, but if you send me an email of the different places where they're going to be available, I will do a video and put it out there, put it on my community. I'll put it on my social media. The
Oh, I'll
thing
get you
is
direct
that
links. Take off with it. I'll get you direct
when
links.
we have friends that are trying to do something positive in the community, that's trying to unify. We talk about unity and prayer all the time, but when we're trying to unify and bring people together, this is just another aspect of being happy, having balance in your life, and so there's so many different places that we can go with this positivity. And the thing is that focus on the positive, have blinders on. This is a way to focus on the positive. And so we want to love on you, Ron. We want to support you. I challenge every single person that is here on this live stream right now to tweet this out, get to his channel. We're going to have links for all of his out. Purchase his book. Tell your family, your cousin, support him wholeheartedly, because you guys, I'm not trying to be funny, but there's a lot of people that are growing on YouTube that all they do is drama, and they got thousands of followers. We're not trying to make money. We're trying to grow so that we can help each other to spread the good news. And Ron has the good news. So we want to share him with the world. We want to support him. We want to embrace him. Okay? So I challenge him. This is my brother. I challenge you to help him with his book be successful. Tell somebody in your church, your home, your family, on your channel. I dare you. I dare you. I challenge you. You guys love challenges. I challenge you. Let's do a Ron. I always mess up your last name. I say it wrong all the time.
Yeah, it's
Tell me the
nice.
right way.
Yeah, you just switch the E and I. It's no big deal. Everybody does it.
Oh, they do. Okay, I'm sorry. Say it for me.
Neitzel.
Neitzel, yes. We want to challenge you to a Ron Neitzel challenge, the Green Wizard Challenge. Somebody in your family wants to grow a garden. They don't know what to do. One of your friends, somebody at your child's school. This is important to the universe. It's important to your family to teach your children how to have sustainability. So let's do it. Let's do it. So, okay. So now that I got the passion out the way, Ron, let me get back to you and some questions. If
Yeah,
anybody has any
Diva
questions,
had one. And she's looking at a a northern facing. Understand, like tomatoes. Tomatoes are different everywhere around the world, but the original ones come from the Amazon, and it's a small, believe it or not, black, almost cherry-like tomato. And it has propagated throughout the world because of the Spanish delivering it and because of the different conditions it got into. Good morning, Howie. And everything else that was going on with the tomato. We have one single tomato that is the original tomato found from over 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, whatever the case may be. That's the original tomato plant. It is still growing wild down there. And they have finally tracked it all the way back. They've located it. But here's the interesting thing. Every tomato is different, can grow under different conditions. All plants can. So just because you have a northern facing area doesn't mean you can't get some form of lighting to that type of tomato plant that only wants so much kind of lighting, or indirect lighting as they call it. It's a matter of finding the right fruits and vegetables to grow in that patio condition facing north that is going to thrive in a indirect sunlight region. And those are the plants you want to go after and master.
Wonderful. That is awesome. Thank you for that. Because many of us do live in apartment living, and a lot of times people tell us, "Well, you can't do that because you're in an apartment." Well, I can tell you, living in Kansas City, I used to have an indoor recycle herb garden, and it worked really well for us in the winter. But moving here, I feel like I should have a garden year round. And for whatever reason, I've had those issues. And so I'm ready to start over, but I want to lay the foundation. Foundation is important. So I'm not doing anything till I get your book. So once I get the book, then I can lay my foundation. Um, I want to do, I want to do this again in a few months for you, and let's kind of do a follow up to what we talked about here today. And so, because people will have questions, people will want to know. They may have some follow up things that they may want to ask you. But I do want to ask you a question about marketing. So, have you talked about how you're going to market your book as far as once it's released?
Well, see, the book was written specifically for the homeowners and the new homeowners, or, and I don't want to classify a group, but we're talking about millennial age individuals now buying homes, and and it's written more so for them. So as far as my publisher is concerned, and the advertising aspects of what they're doing, they're heading into the real estate market and taking it that way. What we
Gotcha.
are doing here on YouTube is sideline to what they're doing. And I'm trying to verbally get out to people, look, this is going to have a tremendous impact on everything you're doing just by obtaining this knowledge and following these steps. There's so much we've forgotten, and I'm just bringing the information back. It's just a guide. I'm not laying out. Look, if we want to get real specific, Howie's here. There are some incredible ways to build a garden bed, and that's not what this book is. This book is giving us an insight as to what our yards need and are lacking, and what to do to build these things back up. And if our soils are mineral depleted, why aren't we putting minerals back? If our soil is dry, we add water, right? Well, let's fix 200, 300, 400 years worth of stuff and follow the principles that the Indians knew, and get us back on track as quickly as we possibly can, and let nature do it. We're just helping out.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are going back to the old way of living. I mean, at least the people that when you know better, you do better. And so sharing the knowledge and understanding of what to do is going to make us better people, at least for our grandchildren. Because I can tell you, for me, my mother had no clue about gardening, brown, black, super black thumb. My grandfather, my uncle, they all were gardeners. They were adamant gardeners. They were all about natural things. And so it kind of got away from us, one generation.
That's all it
For
takes.
me,
Yeah, one
exactly.
generation that got
That's what,
overburdened with it or overworked. I don't want to go pull
yeah,
weeds. I don't want to go do this. The next generation completely misses it and loses. So information is lost. I'm
yeah.
bringing it all back.
Amen. And that's important, because I can tell you that, doing it my mom's way for so many years, even though I had something that I was born with, when I started looking at the things that I was using and doing, and that was exacerbating and making it worse. And so not eating meat and just eating, good things for your body, I want to grow them myself. I don't want to go to a grocery store and I think about the air that's in the grocery store and all the fruits and vegetables that's there and all the things that are on there and all the chemicals, and I'm allergic to all that stuff. And so I try to stay away from all those things. That's the main reason why I moved here, so I can get more accessibility to fruits and vegetables but I want to do my own. I don't want to have to be a slave to the grocery store. We have a lot more farmers markets here, but I want my own. So that is why, again, I'm excited about your book. So I have, let's see here. Does somebody have a question? Oh, it says, Ron, how can we make sure we get enough water in our soil?
There's ways of getting things to maintain the soil moisture content, and Howie is talking about those right now.
Hey,
And,
hey,
and
Blue Forest, how are
yeah,
you?
one of the interesting things you can do is add wood chips, believe it or not. Now we're talking about untreated. We're talking about something, you go out and you cut down a tree, you take it from the chainsaw, those shavings, and you put that in your soil. It's going to maintain. If
Yeah.
you have corn or potatoes or what have you, you can take the old corn husks, crack them in half, use them as water sponges, stick them under your plants. They will maintain moisture for you. There are simple, forgotten tricks that people have overlooked and have uh, forgotten. Is the easiest way to put it. So to just say, hey, look, I need a certain moisture content. You need a certain moisture content depending on the fruits and vegetables you're talking about. Like when we're growing our garlic that had to be planted a couple of months ago, because it's a winter crop, it doesn't really necessarily maintain moisture content to grow. I've seen people grow this stuff in clay, but they plant it at the right time of year, allow it to do its thing. It absorbs a lot of the stuff right out of the air that it needs to grow. My garlic, and yes, I cheat. I use my principles on my garlic, and my garlic is phenomenal every year and getting larger and larger every year in the same plot. I grow it not because I eat it, but because it's a bug deterrent. It keeps the ticks and fleas away from all my animals. I don't have to treat my animals and run to the vet every time I see this bug or that bug. I just go get some more garlic and put it in their diet and rub them down with it and make sprays and oils out of it and get it all over the yard.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting things happen when you let nature do its thing.
That was my
They
next
run
question.
from these plants.
That
You
was my
put
next
garlic
question.
in the soil, and ticks and fleas run like mad. They hate it. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you can get a chance and you can put some garlic in your yard, let it grow wild. You don't even have to harvest it. Just let it do its thing. Nature has a way of taking care of what it needs to do.
So question, as far as that's concerned, that was some of the questions. So the things that you're talking about here, those things are going to be second book, because we were talking about the second book
Yes,
already.
and I'm in discussions with Howie to dedicate a specific chapter to the way he does things, and the way he sets up his gardens. And I will be meeting with him and talking with him on a much more extensive basis. But yes, um, the second book, if we get enough of the first book sold, the second book is going to be nothing but different ways to build garden beds, the different principles, the different reasons, the different pluses, the minuses, what's working, what's not working. It could be conditional as to the growing regions that you're in. My book, this first one, has nothing to do with regions. It's about giving it back to the soil and getting it back to where it should be and thriving from it. When we're talking about going into regional aspects, then we have to look at moisture contents versus clay contents versus what organic matter, what's considered organic matter. The second book will go far more in depth into actual gardening versus hey, this works.
I'm waiting on the first and second.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Well, let's just see. I mean, if I only sell 250 copies of the first book, I'm not writing a second book. It took 5 years. I'm not doing a second one.
Don't speak that. Say
I'm just
we speaking
saying.
positive over this. We speaking positive over this book. The first one, the second one, the third one, the 10th one. We speaking positive over your career. We're not gonna stop now. Can't nothing stop you, brother. We claiming victory over
I'm
this
gonna
first
go get
one,
it.
so then you can have the second, the third, the 10th, the 100, whatever you want. Don't
Hey,
put X on your career and you just getting started.
Well, no, I'm
Here
just
to
being
encourage
realistic.
your life, encourage you, encourage your career, encourage you being a love on you because you have a story to tell. And let me tell y'all something. We don't do support for support here. We love on each other here. We do silent support. We got some good folks up in this chat right now. If you don't over and do a watch later, so you can go over and watch their channels later. A good person is food for us. If you want to know about sustainability of and vegetables and fruit and gardening and blah, 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 all kinds of stuff, go over and check his channel out. If you can't watch his videos right now, put it on watch later so you can watch the full watch video. Don't watch a half a video. Watch the full watch. If you can't commit, do it later. If you can't commit, come back to this live stream and love on these channels later. We don't do the support for support here because we don't want pressure. We want everybody to be engaging in the conversation, in the discussion, and then come back later on if that's what you want to do. But I'm telling you, there's some good people here. And we want to grow this community of positivity and love. Surround all of you with that because that's what we deserve. We deserve to have positivity and not negativity. Thank you, Ron, for sparking. This is called a spark. Interest
What it
in
takes.
me. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have anything that you want to share with us overall as far as your ups and downs with the book? I know you talked about some of it.
What I've got, what I want to walk away after all of this is, hey, any of you, you're all incredible people. You have done incredible things on YouTube. If you have information to share, write a book, get it down on paper. We're losing that aspect of our world. Everything's going digital. What happens if we go grid down? What happens if you all have a story to tell? Spend the time, get with yourself. I advise everybody that's got something to say to put it down on paper, put it down in a book, and share your wealth of knowledge because too many people have forgotten and lost knowledge. Bring it all back, put it down on paper, and let's get word back out again. Paper shouldn't be thrown away or shouldn't be burned or shouldn't be done away with because this is how we're losing all of this knowledge is everything's going digital and everybody's losing track. Share the wealth of knowledge that you have. The experience of writing my book has changed me as an individual. I want to say for the positive because it is a motivational thing. It is about getting it done. It is about coming in communications with yourself, making the room in your mind, making the time, and getting it done. And you will all benefit. Even if you don't take it to publish, you'll benefit from the experience of writing a book.
I wrote a book.
Get the information out there to people.
Yeah.
We will all benefit greatly from it.
I wrote a book and then lost it in a computer. So it was devastating.
Yeah, I can
So
imagine.
now I vlog. So, but I want to say that the one thing I will say that my takeaway is that I need to do a lot more research before I start my garden this year. And so as soon as I'm ready to go to the level of my healing. You know, I've been on many layers. I've peeled back many layers, and this is just another layer that I'm trying to peel back for myself. And so it's all about consciousness. Everybody's walking around in a daze, in a blur. You know, we in our day to day, we stuff ourselves with things that are not good for us. Keep going and don't stop. We don't rest ourselves. We don't meditate. We don't pray. We don't, there's so many things that we're doing that's so imbalanced that we get back to the basics. Ancestral, they didn't have all these problems. And so I just feel like it's important to be conscious, to be conscious about your life and what you're trying to do and your spirituality. Because I mean, all of that is to me. So I want to tell everybody here, thank you so much. And I appreciate you for being here. One of you. I'm sorry that I wasn't engaging enough in the comments, but we want to say thank you for being here today, and that we. So you guys make sure you go over on channel, and I'm sure that when the book comes out, he's going to do a video about it, right, Ron?
Oh, absolutely. We'll get word out as
And
quickly as we can.
so say what? Say it again.
We will get word out as quickly as we can when the book is available.
Amen. So, and then once the book is available, I'm going to take all of his avenues, and I'm going to make sure that we post, on all social media. And I would suggest you guys to do this, get the knowledge out there. Let's share something good, something that is going to help the world. And it also is going to encourage Ron, because marketing is important, to success of anything. So to get it out there in the YouTube streets, you get into the right hands. You already have one avenue, but we want you to have a million avenues of getting this book out there to people, because there are a lot of people out there that don't have the understanding, they don't know what to do. And so any last words, Ron, before we
No, I just want to thank you, sister, and bless you and pray for you and be there for you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, everybody, for showing up this morning. I'm going to try and get a copy of this and post this on my same website once this is available to everybody. Again, thank you so much for your time and having my back and helping me support this.
What I'll do is, once it's available, if I can download it, because sometimes I'm able to download my live streams, I can send it to you if I'm able to do that. And then you can just post it as a video on your channel if you'd like.
Yeah, once it posts, I can grab it.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you wanted to have a copy of this to put on your channel for your own self. It's up to you. But let me know. And I will see you guys on the next video. Don't forget, dedication February the 8th through the 13th, we are going to dedicate time, 2 hours from 5 to 7, 2 people per day, loving on their channel. We're going to watch their videos. They're doing interview questions so we get to know them. We want community. That's what this is about, getting to know people in our community and what you're about and what you in content creators. So come back, you guys, all next week from Tuesday to Sunday, 5 to 7. We're going to love on some people. We're going to hug on them. We want to virtually show them that we support their channel and what they're trying to do here on YouTube. And we're going to continue to keep doing this. We are lifting people up and loving on you so much for being here. And we are out. So love you. Hey, TWG7. She's one of the people that's getting a dedication next week. I'll see you guys later. Much love to you. Take care, everybody.
Be here all week.
Wave, Ron. Bye.